Hi there, I am Joanne Marshall.
And I'm Allison Severson.
And we're going to be talking to you about books. We're going to get through 10 books in 5 minutes. So the first thing we want to talk about, though, is World Book Night, which occurs Monday night. And if you're not familiar with that, it started last year in the UK and has moved this year to the US. We're going to be giving away books.
There are over 25,000 volunteers giving away 500,000 books. So I'll be giving away The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks outside of the Parks Library at 6 o'clock. So 20 copies, get there early.
And I will be giving away Leif Enger's Peace Like a River right here outside Howe Hall at 5 o'clock. And then we're each going to talk about 5 books, and then we'll do a little summary here at the end. So Peace Like a River is very similar to Kill a Mockingbird in my head, except it's Midwestern. So there's a murder, there's a kidnapping, there's a noble father. It's a wonderful book, and 20 copies will be yours on Monday night. The second is The Tower, the Zoo, and the Tortoise, which is a quirky sort of English novel about a beefeater who is asked to take care of the Queen's Zoo at the Tower of London. It's a quirky little book. The next one is Gary Schmidt's OK for Now, which is technically a young adult novel because it features a 14-year-old boy, but it's a beautifully written novel for anyone. He's a troubled kid, but he is saved pretty much by teachers and librarians who take an interest in him, and he learns how to draw and finds his talents. 2 nonfiction books are both by Melissa Fay Green. One is There Is No Me Without You, which is about the African AIDS crisis told through an Ethiopian orphanage. And that sounds really depressing, but it isn't. It's very hopeful. And her second book comes from that in that she wrote a memoir about having adopted 5 international kids, orphans, plus having 4 of her own. So no biking in the house without a helmet is one of their house rules, and it's a really fun little book.
So, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. Perhaps you haven't heard of her, but we have ourselves to thank for the polio vaccine and in vitro fertilization. She was an African-American woman whose cells were taken without her knowledge in the 50s from Johns Hopkins when she was being treated for cancer there. The Art of Racing in the Rain is a great story told from Enzo's perspective, which is that great dog on the cover of this book. So the author does a wonderful job telling the story from Enzo's perspective. The next book is The Worst Hard Time, which is a nonfiction account of the Dust Bowl, which happened during the Great Depression. The Dust Bowl was a result of stripping the land, and it was hard to breathe because of the dust blowing around. This author follows 12 families through this time. The Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet is a love story set in the Pacific Northwest during World War II, but it's not just love. Henry is Chinese-American and Kiko is Japanese-American, and she and her family are sent to an internment camp, so this is the story of how they stay in touch and how 40 years later Henry rediscovers some history. Omnivore's Dilemma, if you haven't read it yet, is a great book to read if you want to know more about the food system and how the food you're eating got on your plate. So Michael Pollan traces it from the field to the slaughterhouse, through the plants, and to our plates. So I'll be giving away the book The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks outside the library on Monday night at 6 o'clock.
And I'll be giving away Peace Like a River at 5 o'clock on Monday outside Howe Hall here. And we know that we went really fast, so our next slide is a summary of the 10 books that we talked about. If you want to go in depth on any one of them and you want to talk to us about them, we're happy to do that for you. We also want to tell you about Goodreads, if you're not familiar with that.
Goodreads is a social networking site all about books. So we are both on Goodreads and would love for you to join us there. You can get recommendations based on books that you've read and that you rate. And at the end of every year, they do a Reader's Choice Award. So you can go back and look at 2011 or other years. There's also, when you get friends on Goodreads, you can compare your books. So this is a screenshot of Joanne and I's books compared. So we'd love to have you join us and compare books.
It's also a fun way to keep track if you're like me and you don't remember what you read and you pick the same book up again at the library or the bookstore, like, oh, I already read that. So if you're interested in following us, you need our email addresses, so there they are. If you want to follow us on Goodreads or if you just want to talk books, we're happy to do that because we love them. Thank you.